Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Oh, I wanted to thank you for interviewing me and award you this trophy.
Cool.
Of being a great burning sun in the human body.
It's lifetime success.
Lifetime success. So anytime you're feeling sad, you can just look at it and know that you are having a lifetime of success.
I'm having a lifetime of success, and you can too if you join the UNICULT.
Yep.
How does the UNICULT help people with their with achieving lifetime success?
It's more of like a mindset than anything else, because what is success? It's like success can be a certain amount of money per year. It's really just how you look at it, and every single person views it differently. So to embody a state of success and like a mindset of success is the best thing you can do.
And what is your idea of ideal success for yourself personally?
Global influence.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you?
Because I just feel like I'm on this planet to do that.
Who you have incarnated to be is really unique. Not a lot of people own their personal responsibility for their influence or their modelship. So when did you realize that there was a higher calling for you?
Yeah, it was when I tried to kill myself. I tried to kill myself, and I should have succeeded. Like everything was perfectly planned out. I should have succeeded. I was 2 hours away from death, and I was miraculously found under a bunch of brush, under a cliff. Like no one should have found me. No one knew where I went, and my dad was spiritually guided to where I was, and I was resuscitated and hospitalized and all that. So at that point, when I was like, I really wanted to be off of this planet, and I realized that there was really something miraculous happening where I had to be staying on the planet for some reason. And so that's when I kind of became obsessed with the reason. Like what is this reason? Like what is my purpose? Why could I not die? Because I really felt like I wasn't allowed to die. And that was like, and like who was not allowing me that? It was like, that was like part of the question. What's my purpose here? And that's when I started to look inside of myself and find out what would make me happy. And the world I felt was really jacked up. And so changing the world just kind of became a part of that.
Are you happier and more content and fulfilled today than you were back then? Like, have you found your purpose in reaching
Absolutely.
These people?
I definitely suffered. I have been suffering on and off since then. I go through hard times, and even recently I was thinking about suicide. Like I should just give up, and that always happens right before you're about to break through to this new way of being, I feel. And so I worked my way through that, and I broke through into this new way now, and I feel like I'm in heaven on earth. Lately, I feel really good.
What is the UNICULT and what is UNICULTism?
The UNICULT is a collaborative effort dedicated to the promotion of joy. It's a club that I started when I realized that groups of people are the most powerful force on the planet. And UNICULTism is similar in the sense that it's entwined with the UNICULT. UNICULTism is a belief set which I developed specifically to make myself happy, and it's not necessarily meant to be practiced or believed in by anyone else except for me. I think that everyone should make their own spiritual belief sets. So UNICULTism kind of acts as a guideline for the members of the UNICULT to look at and say, okay, well, here's UNICULT's spiritual belief set. How can I change this so that it benefits me the most?
Mm-hmm. And what is the basis of UNICULTism?
The basis of UNICULTism is that belief makes real, and that we can change ourselves and we can change the world, and that we're all one. We're all one. Just that separateness that we all think we feel, and that aloneness is not really real. That we can.
Why do you think so many people buy into that illusion of separation and that we're not all interconnected?
It's deep. It runs deep. It's like just social reinforcement. We aren't taught that we're all one. We're taught that we're separate. We're taught to especially in a capitalist nature, we're taught to fight other people for positions of power and take from other people, and that doesn't make sense when you understand that we're all one, because you're taking from yourself.
Are you okay with people seeing pop spirituality and going, oh, that's silly and just entertaining?
Yeah. It's such a funny question, because a lot of people have been oh, is it a joke? Is it a real cult? is it a real cult? It's like, what's a real cult? Everything's a joke. Is it ironic? Everything's ironic. I don't know, like, how to really approach that, because it's no more funny than, like, Christianity. It's no more funny than, but Christianity's hilarious.
Right.
You know, so, like, that's like the kind of the underlying, like, no, everything is really funny.
Are there any requirements to joining the UNICULT, and what could one expect when joining forces with you, with Unicole Unicron?
The UNICULT right now is in this really cool state of growth and, like, of community building. So we're really in this place where if people really want to get in kind of on the ground level and start building that, it's a good time to do that. But the process of joining UNICULT is to purchase the online application, which is like $11.11, and then it guides you through this personal interaction with me through the mail, where there are different levels with tangible rewards based on your spiritual success. I feel like there's probably a lot of people who feel like they're in the UNICULT, like, or at least in the community of UNICULT, who aren't official members. So it's really far-reaching in that way.
So if somebody had just is watching this video, can they automatically assume that they are a member of the UNICULT, or do you recommend that they go through the process of applying?
I recommend that they go through the process of applying, because everyone's accepted. And I've worked really hard over many years to develop the interaction through the mail, and so I'm really proud of it, and I want to interact with people in that way.
Gotcha. Now, one of the things that you talk about is ascension, and one of the possible outcomes of joining the UNICULT is ascension. You do so through the creation of Ascended Media. What is ascension? What is Ascended Media, and how can we ascend?
It's so interesting. I was thinking so much about this, because what the UNICULT is like not exactly a New Age philosophy, but, like, we believe that this is a New Age. I mean, there's so much crossover between, like, New Age ideology and the UNICULT. But if you don't believe in New Age stuff, you can still believe in the UNICULT. And so ascension is one of those words that's kind of walking that line of, like, that's like a pretty New Agey word. So how do we bring that back into, like, the vernacular of, like, what other people really are connecting with? And ascension for me is, like, just joy, you know, just, like, living in a state of joy. So, like, a lot of times in New Age communities we talk about raising our vibration, you know, and that's just joy, you know, that's just bringing our happiness up. That's just getting out of these lower realms of sadness. And so for me, the way I think of ascension is, like, getting happier and happier, and that's, you know, by paying attention to your true heart and by paying attention to your true self and by living your true life. Then you can you just naturally become more motivated, you naturally become happier, and you naturally ascend.
So it's a bit of a paradox, like you talk about like having whatever we imagine and like ascending directly right now into heaven, but it does take work.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's a lot of work. No, not an easy path. Ascension is not like a fun time. I would say it's a fun time like 60% of the time.
So what does belief make real mean to you?
Belief makes real, it exist on so many levels. It can be like something as small as, like, you know, dress for success. Like, I believe, like, I'm a business person and I'm gonna dress this way and then I'm gonna be a good business person, and that's belief that makes real. Or belief that makes real can be like, I'm a depressed person who can be happy. I believe that, and that will become real. Or I can heal from anything, and you believe that, and that becomes real.
So it's sort of affirmations?
Affirmations, and just kind of cutting out outside influence that's negative or negatively affecting you, and just, like, really focusing on what you want to be true.
So the UNICULT is sort of a support group for people that are ascending, that may not have other friends or may feel as though their beliefs are a little alien or something?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to put it, because we are building this community, and since the last few days we've been building a stronger community. I've started to feel the shield of that community, because when you've got collective belief, when you've got more than one person believing in one thing, you're able to create a whole world within that. You can create a world within yourself. You can believe what you want to believe and create a shield around yourself and just believe what you want to believe, and that's very powerful. But when you learn how to do that and then you join other people who are also doing that, you guys can get together and create a huge shield around you of belief, and that's how the world will change.
Cool.
So yeah, the UNICULT is that. It's this group of supportive people.
Yeah. There's, you're not just a cult leader, but you're also a pop star. So pop is generally like this manufactured form of music that's a little bit phony in its idealism, like God must have spent a little more time on you, or
Yeah.
things like that. What attracts you to the world of pop, and like, how did you know? When did you know that you were a pop star?
I started. Actually, I just found I post all my journals online, and I just found this few pages in my journal where I was talking to the devil directly, and I was like, okay, like, because the devil and I kind of like noticed each other, and it was like, I realized that like most famous people have sold their soul to like get famous to the devil, you know, and that is that emptiness. That's all it really comes down to. That maybe sounds kind of scary, but like all that really is like selling yourself to commercialism, right? To making money and to being part of this like really empty media. And so I was talking to the devil in my journal pages, like, he's like, I'm the businessman that all businessmen are made of, you know, like, come on, join me, I'm recognizing, like, your power, like, let's work together, we can make a bunch of money, kind of thing. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna use your techniques for my gain. No, I'm not gonna let you use my power for your gain. I'm gonna use your power for my gain. So, like, that's kind of a long way to say, like, use the things that are powerful in the world to create the greatest change. Speaking of which,
money is like this big spell that is cast over society. Like, what is it's almost like a paradox where hippies or new age people have such a, like, we're like egalitarians, and like we believe in unity amongst all people, and that money kind of creates this competition, like you're better than me or whatever. So how do we rectify that? How does society as a collective ascend when money is the thing that defines what makes a person more powerful than another person?
Yeah, it's no good. You know, it's no good to have people with gross amounts of wealth and people with none, because that's what creates violence, that's what creates all of this separateness that really goes on. And like you said, it's a big spell, you know, money is this big spell. So equal wealth distribution is like a really, really, really important thing for us to go through in the future as a society.
So I see that you print, well, it's probably like illegal to print your own money or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's fake money.
Yeah, but so what is the value of fake money to you?
It's funny because like it's paper money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how is it different
than
the other paper money?
Right.
It's very much not.
Yeah.
It's just our idea. So we look at that money and we say, well, there's a few things. I bought it in Chinatown.
Oh, okay.
Like, or, you know, like in New York. And I bought as much of it as I could afford.
You spent all your fake money on other fake money.
Yep.
You traded.
And so, yeah, this is my favorite fake money. But I love surrounding myself with fake money because it really does two things. It makes me remember that money is fake, and it also makes me feel like I'm abundant with money, you know? It's like I could just have all the money that I want. It's just right here, you know? Hundreds of dollars.
It's such a trip to get so absorbed and stressed out over this stuff. Like,
and everyone does, and it is a huge spell. I love the way you said that, because there's so many people who go every single day just worrying and putting all of this energy into money, and it's no good. And if we're all one, and we've got a majority of people just feeling like crap and not being able to get by, like, you're not able to get by. Like, that's everyone. That's not like I'm gonna start focusing on like this spirit of generosity, you know, because we really have to get the people who have all the money to start being more generous, and for everybody who's trying to like take and hoard money to be more generous. And like, once we all do that, we're all going to start feeling this abundance throughout our society, throughout our world. And it's not just them that has to do it. We all have to kind of embody this idea of abundance and of gratitude and of sharing. Because the way that we are just always clinging to the little bits we have is like useless.
So I guess that would be a question that might arise, is like, okay, it's great to, like, just wearing the hat of somebody else, like, in the default world, like, well, it's easy to just like sit at home and make up your own reality and pretend that unicorns are real. But like out there in the world, we have to communicate with other people and go to work and and there's war and there's mean people out there and stuff like that. So how do you bust through the spell of society? Like when you're walking down the street and this guy, guy's checking you out and he knows that he's objectifying you and not seeing you as a spirit or whatever. Like how do you kind of balance the two of what you truly know is true about yourself and that we're all one, and then cope with
clashing that against the real world. I found actually that the more time that I spent creating my own reality and the more time I spend really, it's really like aura strengthening, and I don't think that's too new agey to talk about, because it's really just becoming strong in who you are. And so the more time I spend doing that and the more time I really focus on myself and what I want to see and what I want to be, the more the world starts to shape into that around me. So when I go out now, people look at me like I know something that they might not. And that's never been the case before. Before, people looked at me like I was kind of weird, and now I can see people kind of looking at me like, what does she know? I almost feel, and that's, I'm not trying to sound vain or anything, but it's been very difficult for me to exist in the world before that. And it goes along with belief makes real, I now am confident in who I am and what I'm doing. And by embodying that and by believing that and going out into the world is starting to shape around that belief.
Have you ever felt a call to get involved in politics?
And eventually, I have a lot of work to do to make the world into a place where I would be successful in politics, because right now politics are super messed up and I wouldn't want to be in them at all. But I have, pretty good ideas on all fronts.
I agree.
Thank you.
Part of what you sort of represent more than you talk about, I would just be remiss not to ask if you've been directly contacted by aliens?
Oh yeah, no, I'm in contact with the Arcturians.
Okay.
Yeah, they are my family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are between 5th and 7th dimensional beings, and they helped me come to Earth. And I've had visions of them, and I can communicate with them directly most times if my vibration is high enough. I wasn't in contact with them for most of my life because my vibration was so low. But then once I started raising my vibration and becoming happier and more true to myself, I finally got to the point where I could hear them again. And there's one book in particular that really blew my mind and started that connection. It's called We the Arcturians. It was really incredible to read, because when I read this book, I had entertained the idea of aliens and channeling and that kind of thing, and I had heard about it, but I didn't think it was I didn't know if it was real, and I never thought I would be part of it. I just thought it was weird and cool. I always like to find out about that kind of
So what's your testimony of of coming into contact with extraterrestrial species? Do they visit you in the physical realm, or do they visit you in the dream realm? Do they communicate? Do you talk with them in consciousness? Or I've never had an experience where I've been directly communicated with, but I have lots of friends that have ongoing relationships regularly with,
and it's different with everyone. My particular experience is that I have only really seen them one time in a trance between sleeping and waking, and for the most part it's just more of an internal dialogue with the voice. There's been times when I've been really upset where I felt their voice speaking through mine, kind of consoling me and calming me down between two different states. And so, I don't even care if it's not real. It helps me so much.
What did the voices tell you? Or what?
A lot of the things in my media are from them.
Okay.
So you are, you can, you will. That's something that was the first thing that was channeled to me. I was suddenly in contact with these voices, and I was what do you ask, And so I was who do I become in the future? And they're exactly what you think. And I was okay. It sounds kind of tricky, And I was okay, well, what am I gonna do in this world? And they're exactly what you think you're gonna do. And I'm just whoa. And then then they just said, you are, you can, you will. And so I think that's such a powerful message. So on all fronts. And so a lot of things like that, and just a lot of encouragement and support, and just You're doing great.
You are doing great. We are, we can, we will.
It's super powerful because it's one of those powerful things you can do with manifestation is be like, I'm doing it now. I'm going to do it. I've already done it.
What is 7 p.m. Anything is Possible?
7 p.m. where anything is possible is my Periscope show. And it's just a show every weekday at 7 p.m. where I get together with my followers and we chat about how we feel and what's going on in the world and different conspiracies and whatever we want to talk about. Mermaids, aliens, health, whatever.
So Periscope is one of the different platforms that exist to you. How do you juggle and manage all these different platforms and stages, world stages, to communicate with all your different followers?
It only recently got difficult. I think I crossed a threshold. So I've been managing all these different platforms for a really long time, and for some reason just recently it was like, oh, I have to start writing down my passwords because I'm starting to forget. But yeah, I love the internet. I love communicating in that way, and I love the unique expression that comes with every platform.
You've got to process, like, what have previous UNICULT members that have just joined, what's the experience of like going through that process of like submitting for the application, filling out the application? Like, can you run somebody through what they might expect?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's a lot of tangible rewards for spiritual progress. So it's kind of like a spiritual check-in and like a really loose spiritual guidance for like things that I see based on the application process. So the first thing is like the application, and like based on the answers to that question, I've got a different response for different kinds of people who are going through different kinds of things. And then as you go through that, it becomes a little bit more. I mean, even the first application is pretty personal and pretty intense, but also like you're joining a cult. You know, it's like I am your cult leader, and we can share these things, and I'm gonna be there to help you heal through those things. And so yeah, it's kind of like a life coaching, like a really loose like spiritual life coaching, but it also opens up this world of community possibility and artistic possibility. And people who have joined, who have been kind of longer term members, have talked about the the benefits that they've undergone. You can see the testimonials online of people who are really genuinely talking about, the changes that have happened in their own lives based on the ideas that are presented within the UNICULT. So I really think it's beneficial. I mean, the ideas in the UNICULT are ideas that benefited me, and that's why I put them out, because they're ideas that I found that benefited me the most and that I think will benefit other people. So
now I'm gonna ascend to the second level of unicultism as soon as I can figure out how to do that.
We're working out the process.
But is there a final level, like where I meet the main boss and come to term with the devil and like defeat him and get total enlightenment into nirvana?
I don't know yet.
Wow.
We're growing with this together. So this the specific application, there's been a few different application processes. I would say beta application processes at this point that have existed, and now we've got the real one that's going on now, and I'm developing it as this wave of people is going through it. So I'm only one step ahead of you. I don't know what it'll end up like.
So what is the difference between the patriarchy and the matriarchy?
I've read a few really good descriptions of this. The patriarchy is more law and separateness and and really like proving one thing or another thing. But the matriarchy is more spiritual and more connected and more collaborative, and where it's more caring, more nurturing, more nourishing as far as a society. So it doesn't mean that women are in charge. It doesn't mean that we're gonna have a woman president. Like, that's still the patriarchy. Like, it's more like a collective of we're all one, and we all take care of each other.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for interviewing me. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. So you can join the UNICULT. What's the website, and how do people connect with you?
Yeah, the website is universe.com, UN1V3RS3. It's ones for I's and threes for E's, universe.com. And then UnicoleUnicron.com, you can find me on. If you want to just look at my website and my art.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.